welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for this ICS 601 seminar series. For those of you who don't know, ICS 601 is a foundation course in the new graduate programs in applied computing with a focus on AI and data science. The program is designed for students from non-computer science backgrounds. This semester, we're teaming up with PACE. PACE is the Pacific Asian Center for Entrepreneurship at the University of Hawaii at Manoa to open select talks to the public. PACE is the hub for innovation on campus in the city, I would claim. Think hands-on workshops, startup challenges, mentorship, and a very, very cool makerspace. So we're excited to collaborate with them on this seminar series. If you'd like to learn more or get involved with PACE, please see Kara, who is one of the panelists on this webinar. So today we're pleased to welcome Shovit Bhari from IBM. Shovit is a physicist by training with more than 10 years of experience in physics education and research, and long-standing experience and expertise in tech as well. He has been working at IBM, where he helps organizations across various sectors, from finance to healthcare to government and education, modernize their ecosystems using IBM's data and AI capabilities, including for collaborative machine learning operations and AI governance. IBM and Shovit have been super generous with their time and guidance over the past years since I met Shovit. So a big mahalo for IBM and Shovit's support. So on that note, we're going to move right to our speaker, and Shovit, please take it away.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction there, Mahdi. So let me add some background to what Mahdi added, like in the introduction. I worked in academia for almost 12 years here in California. I'm based out of California, in Southern California, and I have this immense love for technology. So I'm always playing with technology. So this led to me in exploring new avenues. So during right before pandemic, I was exploring for new career options. So I picked up some data science books and some machine learning books, and then took some courses and pivoted myself into data science and AI world around that time, and worked with one of my cousin uh, for his startup, like where I was helping him with some natural language understanding algorithms, and landed here at IBM. While working for IBM, last year I was mainly involved in different initiatives in Hawaii. So that brought me close to the computer science department here at University of Hawaii, Manoa campus. And we have had so many discussions around AI with the university as well as different areas at the state of Hawaii. So today, what my goal here is to first start with how IBM is using their AI initiatives as their client zero, how they prove themselves internally with the AI initiatives, and then how we have used our capabilities and technologies in different areas such as sports, academia, other sectors, as well as how we worked for with AI initiatives at the University of Hawaii. So, first of all, I would like to start with IBM as a client zero. Okay. As we know, November 22nd, 2022, sorry, November 30th, 2022, right? ChatGPT, that was a transformation date for our technology, right? Since then, generative AI, large language models have dominated the conversations. So AI today impacts every industry, every role in an organization. and also creates new opportunities. First, we talk about increasing productivity, enabling new ways to use our data for competitive advantage. Everybody we speak with is looking into boosting productivity with AI. But how, right? Like you must have seen a uh, lot of like articles. You must have read all those things, read through different areas. How is industry leveraging it, right? When we talk to like industry leaders, not everybody has been successful in using fully scaling AI and adopting AI within their enterprises. So when in 2022, at the end of the year, everybody was talking about AI, and then how do we scale this? How do we bring this to different industry, solve world challenges, transform the businesses, right? So for this, for the implementation of AI, right, and not just implement successful implementation, like it requires technology transformation. First, your data, what data you train on, how you govern the data, what kind of data you're using. And also it requires like a cultural and behavioral transformation. And it also, and on top of that, by now, continuous enhancement in the skills for next today AI as well as that's coming in future, right? And things are changing rapidly. You blink, there's some kind of transformation that's happening in AI. From the time we started conversation with Madi last year to today, there has been so many models that has been out in the market and with some advancement. So to IBM started this internally with a challenge. Every employee within IBM, starting in 23, this challenge was started, right? Like, but here is the statistics for 2024. Uh, Different like problems were given to all IBM employees, and they had to group together and solve these challenges. It was like a hackathon internally, right? In 2024, 178,000 IBMers joined this, register for these challenges, and there were several problems that we had to solve, and 68% of these like were able to understand how to apply generative AI in their uh, daily lives. That's what they learned through this process, right? And 70% of the teams who join these challenges learn not just to use AI, but how to solve their real uh, work-life problems, right? So it's not about it was not just about giving us an experience, but it was some more along the side of research and development. Both here we participated, all of us participated, right? The first year, uh, for me itself, I learned how to first build an app using these large language models. Last year, what I learned in this challenge, there were different problems, but like first year, I learned how to build an application out of it, do the sentiment analysis, provide the scoring of it, and then create a summarization, all these things. Last year, I learned how to fine tune the models, like the large language models, like which we have a homegrown model called Granite. That's what I learned how to fine tune it myself, right? So, and this has helped us internally to learn, adopt AI. So out of all that, right? So out of all that, one of the things that came up was Axe HR. this is one of the challenge problem converted into a real product for us, which we internally call Axe HR. What it does is it helps you answer any human resources related answers, as well as uh, like it integrates through like 79 systems, like 4,700 policies, and it brings them all together. So let me tell you what it helps you do. Like, for example, your our holidays are based on location. If I want to know when my holidays are, I can just simply go and ask this virtual assistant, right? We have got away from like this word called chatbot. Like we call them virtual assistant, right? It should be able to assist you. Like today, it has turned into our agents, and it helps me understand my pay slips. It helps me create employment verification later without having to talk to any uh, humans. But if humans are required, like it brings human in the loop, right? It helps me all the hard work. Like now, our HR employees can just focus on uh, the high severity tasks rather than answering when my holidays are, which I can do just by just going to the web page, right? And to do this, all these agents are built on different uh, it connects to agents built on different platforms. Like, for example, some of the popular ones that exist in the market today are SAP Success Factors. It has built like agents based on that. Other one is the Workday, right? So now it is automating the workflow for those platforms. Like you are able to connect to multiple platforms, and then uh, you run these agents to help like with your HR related task, right? So now just this, right? Now we have not just Axe HR, there are Axe, something similar to any, if I have any IT related questions that connects to our service now to create like any of our incident or anything like that, it connects me to IT operations, or we call that Axe IT. And also, like as you can see with this slide here, some of the companies like Lockheed Martin, for example. So all the large language models are not trained on their data. You have to augment that knowledge. So based on the knowledge that Lockheed Martin wants people to know, using that knowledge, it provides enterprise insight, used for customer experience, digital labor, which would be our Axe HR. I'll go more deeper into Axe HR later, right? And then 94% of the inquiries are resolved by Axe HR today for us, right? 1.5 million, 11.5 million employee interactions, right? And every manager has adopted this Axe HR because it has made their life easier. Now, if they need to transfer any employees from one department to other, instead of take that process, which used to take a couple of days to week, now is on a happens in few clicks. So here are some statistics, right? So IBM is a global company, so all employees, almost 300,000 employees are using this tool for their HR needs every day, right? And when we are talking about the agents that's been built into this system, it scales across like recruiting agent, like creating a requisition for hire, sourcing an agent, selecting uh, and making an offer. There are all these agents that's built for recruiting, where it should be sourced, right? Who should be selected? There's an agent. All this is brought into one place, right? And then there are other agents that's brought into one place. All these like sub agents are built into like one. master agent or the main agent, right? And then not just that, you can bring like a third party agents to it as well. So as I mentioned, last year, all my HR information was on Workday, but we shifted from Workday to SAP Success Factors, and I didn't even know that the transition happened. Like it was seamless, right? Like going like last year, like they were building on Workday agents, or this year at the beginning of the year when they shifted to success factor agents, didn't feel like nothing much changed going from one agent to other, right? And then here are some of the use uh, other things that this particular agents can support, right? Uh, Travel, like employee related travel, employee onboarding, anything related to career. If I need to, within every day, we are given tasks to upskill ourselves because technology is changing rapidly. So now it reminds me of what classes I should be taking to upskill myself, right? Like proactively gather information about uh, my employee related stuff, right? Like if there are recruiting agents, as I mentioned, and support agents. Out of the most, one I love is the benefits agent. So what it does is it just does not help me answer questions about my benefits, but like it helps me enroll in the benefits. Right now is the enrollment period that's happening at every organization today, right? So let's say if there's a change, let's say somebody wants to add a family member which was not in the policy last year, just by a natural language policy. Last year I had a family of two, but this year my family, I have a child in a household. Just provide in a natural language, it provides you the option of which benefit you want to select, right? So that's where we are with. This is how we are using these AI agents internally, which we are helping scale, like take it to other uh, clients as well. So right now, I have some clients in multimedia who I'm having conversations to bring this uh, particular tool into their system, right? So this is what how we are helping enterprises bring adopt what we learn, what all the trouble that we went through of understanding how to implement internally, now bring help other enterprise adopt this technology. Now, having going, and there are many other like client zero use cases like that deals with procurement, IT, finance, sales, right? And then our main within our like something similar to what we have in the market, right? All these different like Chat GPT, Gemini, we have built using our large language models for internally for us to use so that we can retrieve answer, get retrieve answers easily. And not just that, like we have taken this initiative and helped other industries, for example, sports, right? So now in sports, first thing I would like to like US Open ended last month, and I was not there, uh, but I was getting all the insights from the cell phone. With the beauty of it was for me how we were using our technology in sports, right? So let me give you my experience here. I could go, let's say for any match, like I don't have time to watch every single match, and I'm a sports fanatic, right? So it would tell me, it would if I asked a question, like let's say the game was going on, if I had to ask what happened in the first set, it would give me the summary of the what happened previously, right? Now it would give me a based on all the data that has been collected on those uh, players. It would give me the prediction of like likelihood of who is going to win this match, all that, right? So not just that, like that was a part of the fan experience. But uh, for media broadcasters, what it would do is it would generate, uh, go through the video, right, of the game, and it would create, like, take the snippets of the highlights and then create the transcript for that highlights for the media people. Those were the things that was going on, and all this was not made by just one capability within it. Like, I know you see too many logos in there, right? So Red Hat is our underlying structure, uh, that IBM acquired, and then you see a HashiCorp Terraform, which does all the automation for infrastructure side. And there was, uh, like, let me go through some of those products that you see, right? The data is the lakehouse solution, where uh, the all this data is made ready for, uh, to create, unlock the value using the AI. And Watson X governance, which is the risk management capabilities, so that, like, these models, the responses that this large language models are provides is, uh, out of does not provide any information that is related to hate, abuse, and profanity, right? Also does not hallucinate, like, it's providing the answers that's accurate, right? Watson X Orchestrate that you see is the tool that is used for as a assistant, and as well as build helps you build all the agents within it. So, and then similar experience goes with Wimbledon too, right? And then there, for Wimbledon, IBM built a uh, tool that's called Match Chat, right? Where you can go and ask who has converted the more breakpoints, who is performing better in the match. Any of these, it would provide you all these answers. Also, uh, keep up with the game, right? Because there's so many games that goes on in those, like, 18 courts, that you cannot keep up with every single thing. So go there, get the summary of the match, or ask questions about it, get the predictions, and so on, right? And all this was made possible using all the historical data as well as the current data, which, and all these data, they had to be uh, handled properly, right? Like, starting from the data governance all the way to, if there were structured data, data quality, data lineage, and so on. Like, as you can see here, if you anywhere you see dot data, that is the lakehouse where data is stored and be queried. It has been, like, and in addition to that one, like, you can it can be integrated with the vector databases for AI to unlock the value of those data. And similarly, the example goes on, right? Like, for a UFC, uh, so we partnered with UFC last year to deliver faster, smarter, and more engaging content, right? So, uh, in terms of providing pre-fight insights all the way to uh, because now the fans can ask in a simple natural language query, right? So not just this even helped, like, the UFC researchers ask complex questions and analyze the trends, generate tailored insights, and route the most suitable, like, AI component through our agentic AI platform, right? So also, a lot of this data curation had to happen, so we helped them curate the data, uh, that was anything that was in a structured form, and also add other knowledge-based data for to augment the data that's related to uh, the UFC. And this one, the last one, this is one of my favorite one, because I got to see this particular Ferrari at our Tech Exchange event that happened last week. I should have added that picture in. Uh, so I grew up using watching Formula One, right? Like, I personally, uh, sometimes I used to miss some classes because of I was so into Formula One. Like my favorite racer was Michael Schumacher. My favorite part was not the race day. My it was the pit stop, and then the a day before who qualifies to be in the first place to be in that race. The the reason I'm talking about the pit stop, it's a this Formula One is not a one man sport. Like it's not the driver, it's the team engagement. That this is the purest form of team work that you will see. I know as an in academia, students always work in a project as a group, right? So it requires a team effort to build a nice product. So whenever I give an example of a teamwork, I always bring Formula One, right? So here, the same thing, right? Uh, this app that Ferrari has produces like dynamic like summaries of the race. Also provides creates the storylines by analyzing the race data for this media people to for the highlights and so on. And also it is combining historical data with the current data. And on top of that, they are using our something similar to what we see in the market that's called Copilot, GitHub Copilot, or the coding assistant. They're using this for their coding platform, right? And then also this, on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, uh, because they are dealing with the fans. So all this output has to be uh, free of hate, abuse, profanity, bias, and so on. All that is taken care of by our governance platform. So I know there must be a chat going on the side. So if there's any questions, I think this is where I would take a pause and answer any of those questions.
Just one of, I think we've been able to answer some of the questions. Watson X, what is Watson X AI? If you can
Okay.
explain that difference between Watson X data, Watson X AI, and you've mentioned the Watson X governance, which is the governance
Okay.
platform.
Yeah, I can help you answer that. So I know when people mention Watson, we go back to our Jeopardy days when Watson AI beat the Jeopardy, right? So in 2023, IBM announced like a product that's to go to market in terms of AI. They call it a Watson X. So what AI is AI is a platform where anybody can go and see which models to use. It's a pretty much a data science and AI platform. There are tools where you choose for I don't want to call it traditional, our like machine learning models, right? Like our predictive models. There are tools for we use for predictive models, prescriptive models, our optimization, as well as our generative AI models. There are low code, no code tools within it. And there are things such as Prompt Lab where you can experiment with different large language models, tune your prompt, fine tune your models, fine tune the prompt. Uh, Now it is a tool where it is a place where you can build your AI agents, build synthetic data we in a low code, no code, or fully coded environment. For fully coded environment, there are things within the platform such as Jupyter Notebooks or R. Right? Everything is built inside so that you can experiment with anything you want for in terms of AI. So the data is the data lake house. So when we say we throw stuff into a data lake, it at some point it becomes a data swamp, right? So you throw everything into object storage. At some point, you don't know what you have in there. So you don't have the organization of data. So all like when we talk about data, it has to be curated, right? Govern data because it to follow all the compliance, right? Govern data. And also this governance is based on the enterprise. So where the data came from, look at the data pipeline, uh, also looking at the quality of the data. Your AI is, uh, as we say, the models, the result becomes better when you have fed in the right kind of data. We call it a GIGO effect, garbage in, garbage out. If you are not training the models with the right data, then your model is not going to predict with like higher accuracy, right? So this is a platform where your every enterprises have different like data in a different warehouses such as Oracle, Snowflake, and many others, right? So now and then those costs can be heavy, right? So instead of like having to query to different places, what we do is we leave that data in wherever that is. We virtualize the data so that you can query that data using our platform. And within there, you can host like things like vector databases for our retrieval augmented generation cases, right? So that is Watson Extra data. And dot governance, I know we have so many products. Uh, like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna talk about all that and confuse you, but like I'm just gonna go more around the capabilities of it, right? So the governance. So all these new laws are coming uh, for AI, right? Like EU being in the forefront of it, EU AI Act. So, right. And there are many other laws. For example, there's a hiring law in New York, right? And then there's CCPA, GDPR, all these laws. So, on top of that, practicing ethical AI is important, right? So, when we talk about this, your AI should not be uh, providing you hateful results, bias results, hate, abuse, and profanity. So not just that, like inputting, like when you are inputting the question into your large language models or any virtual assistant, it should be able to detect that this particular input that you have has like uh, does not have hate, abuse, or profane language built into it. So to govern that, we have this platform called Watson X Governance. So three pillars, right? What it does is it looks at the life cycle of the model, who built it, right? Where was it built? Like, was it built on AWS cloud or Azure cloud or IBM cloud? Was it built in on-prem, right? Uh, and then now through that, how is the model performing throughout its life cycle from the development all the way to production? Right? There are different matrices that we look at to see if this model is performing as required. Like, let's say, for example, uh, credit risk model, right? Where let's think about our machine learning model, where what it does is to that when somebody goes into the bank and applies for a credit, it should tell you if this particular person can is approved for credit or not, right? So that means it takes a lot of different attributes, and based on the attributes, it should be able to tell you if the person is uh, approved for a loan or not, right? But over time, that model can drift. That means it might not predict it accurately. Maybe the model was trained on uh, the house's price less than $1 million, but over time house's price increases. But like now, if the person is trying to approve, it might not provide you the accurate results. So it starts to drift. Like let's see, uh, the prediction is not accurate. Like it's drift. Like let's say the model is drifting. How do we know the model is drifting, right? So that needs to be monitored, which is done within this platform, right? Like, and then also, for example, there were cases where it was a real life case, right? So if you look into news, like you'll see this, like there was a household, a husband and wife applied for the same credit card with a similar score, credit score, similar salaries. husband was approved for the credit card, but wife was not. There was a bias. Like this was a bias created by the model, right? How do we monitor that? Those kind of things are taken care in this governance. How is the model performing throughout time, right? How many tokens are being used for that particular model? How do you track this model, like token counts, like input and output tokens? All these are taken care within this governance platform. Like as you can see, there's an IBM Granite. These are our large language models. Like right now, we release like Granite 4.0, and in addition to that one, there's a Granite coding model. And uh, since I'm talking to academia, I would like to highlight uh, there are time series model, there's model for biomedical foundation models as well as solar storm models. So that's available on Hugging Face for its open source. They're all open source for you to use. So if you are doing like if you are an astronomy researcher and then you are working on the solar flares, like if you go to Hugging Face there, you will find our solar models that you can use.
So there are a few more questions if you don't mind me asking,
Go
and you don't
ahead.
have to, yeah, maybe even quick answers if possible. So the first one is by collaborating with these external companies, do you take back the feedback and implement it and update your own models? Does that go back into improving the implementations of your models?
Definitely, yeah. All the feedbacks are highly important, right? So, like, as we build this assistance, there we always have a feedback loop built into it too, right? Like thumbs up and thumbs down, as well as like all the inputs, like all the other feedback that come in from our clients. We use implement them, and then we would not be successful without clients' feedback.
Another question, I think there are three questions. They all pertain to pretty much the same thing, in my opinion. So, do you have any sort of offerings around? You talked about the governance aspect, but do you have any offerings about that pertain to either explainability or ethical? So one is explainability, and the two other questions is how do you deal with security and privacy in your, among other products, the HR? When you were client zero, how did your own employees handle the sensitive nature of the data they were sharing with IBM?
Yep, great question there. So explainability, yes, it's built into the governance platform. So it should be able to tell you like why models. I know it works differently for large language models, but right now. I'll speak to our machine learning models. So the credit risk example that I gave you earlier. Let's say somebody got declined for that credit approval, right? Now you have to go back and see why this particular model was declined. You can go look at the attributes and it will tell you why it was declined, right? Like because you did not have certain credit score range, like credit was there was like some default, like it will tell you why. But also you can do the what if analysis into it. Like now, how can I improve that score? I can do the what if analysis based on that and then see how I can improve that score. And now it will tell you like, hey, you can run the automated report as well as you can input your own scoring. Like, hey, I want to be in a certain score within like 6 months. Like, by how much will my credit score like, will I be approved if I bring it back to this score? Things like that. You can do the what if analysis. That falls under the explainability, right? And then what was the next one?
Sort of the ethics.
Oh yeah,
Um, you know,
security,
maybe
right?
I'll expand on it. And so, how do you measure alignment? How do you assess alignment?
Alignments.
Yeah, in terms of responsible and ethical AI use, how do you make sure that your models are behaving in an ethical and responsible way? And
Oh yeah. So like if you these guardrails filters are turned on, right? Like guardrails, like when you are using our .ai platform, in that orchestrate where you build the agents, like guardrails are already turned on, right? But like in a .ai platform, you can turn on the guardrails. Like now you can go and see, and also you can change the guardrails to turn on it on and off. Like what it does is it will go ahead and uh, first detect hate abuse and profanity, and there's on top of that, there are many other guardrail settings that you can turn on and off, as well as you can do that uh, like while governing for your input tokens as well as the output tokens. Like it goes and it is all based on what you are using that particular model use case models for what particular use case. For summarization, like there are all different like matrices that it tracks for to see if it's relevant to that area. Looks for like, hey, if it's hallucinating on all those features that can be turned on and monitored for.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. How much time do we have? Like, I know I'll have to. So, man.
We can go all the way to the end if you don't mind having sort of an interactive session where people can ask the questions. We can
Yeah.
go all the yeah, 1 o'clock. We
Okay. Like, there are like in academia. So here, uh, one product that we have is called the Maximo. What it does is it is used for predictive maintenance, right? At different enterprises. Like, for example, if you are getting into theme parks, like some of those, all these roller coasters, it tells you when it needs to be maintained, when it needs to be turned on. All these things are monitored by this Maximo application. So now with uh, Georgia Tech, I use this to technology with the help of our AI capabilities, right? So not just monitoring this facilities, but also the solar panels, irrigation systems, and also using visual feed from the drones and real-time sensor data, uh, which was used to do the predictive maintenance, which has reduced the time, uh, reduced the downtime. So not only that, it helps you create the work orders, right? Like let's say if something needs to be fixed within certain time, then it will help you create that work order. So now, uh, how is this work on this particular product, this maximum application? This has a built-in capabilities to like create a work order, but our orchestrate platform capabilities, which is the agents, help you. Uh, it help like balance the energy loads, adjust irrigation schedules, and so on. So uh, drones were capturing like images, then AI agents translated this, like use this workflow uh, to see if this particular areas like like this feed like used like okay based on the soil moisture does this area needs to be watered, right, like for the crop health, those kind of things. And in addition to that one, we are something that we are working with University of Hawaii. I don't know. I know our team was involved in it. Madi, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was supposed to happen in October, the hackathon.
yeah, I'm not part of that team, so I don't know what
Yeah,
yeah.
I know IBM team was engaged with conducting this hackathon, AI hackathon at University of Hawaii, Manoa. So similarly, uh, we using this our platform was used for this hackathon to enable in terms of AI to build like applications using AI and then uh, upskill students in terms of AI. So that was, and there are many more use cases in terms of education, like for answering, like a virtual assistant to answer questions related to the university for incoming students. Uh, also something like an advisor, academic advisor. Which class should I take? Like if I've taken like so many other courses at community colleges, some of those have been implemented at other universities as well. So let me quickly go into some of the use cases, right? So Lockheed Martin, being a defense company, they have a big initiatives around like generative AI models, but their data is siloed, and being a highly regulated industry there, their data needs to be governed, right? So this is where we came in and helped the data governance policies for them, like uh, who can view this particular column, like should Shovit, I don't trust this guy named Shovit, so only or he does not have access to, he cannot have access because of uh, his designation at this company. So all these governance policies has to be created. We help them create that, as well as curate the data in terms of qualities, so that all this data was used to feed, like create some of the predictive models, as well as fine tune some of the models that they were using. And the other company that I like in terms of like non-profit, right? So Food Ladder, which is an award-winning non-profit organization. So they empower uh, remote communities for sustainable gardening and educational initiatives. So how did we help them, right? So using these platforms, like there was an assistant where they uh, could answer questions related to food, like how to grow food properly and all those things, right? So through these initiatives, like teachers and students were engaged in hands-on learning experience, and they were able to produce fresh fruits and vegetables for their communities, and which took them longer time for education, like reaching out to the communities. So we helped them build this tool so that like they could uh, help educate more communities uh, for to grow food here, right? And
There's
questions?
Oh, no, no, sorry. Finish that thought. I'll ask
Yeah,
after you're done with this slide. Thank you.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, so in terms of customizing Granite, do you have to customize it every time that you roll it out to a different country in order to account for the cultural nuances that might be different across different deployments and environments?
You mean fine tune or just customize it? Like,
Fine tune it, yeah.
yeah. Fine tuning, like I know it comes in different languages, right? For those countries that like it comes in like variation of like at least 30 languages. So for that, it's fine. But like if you need to do it for any other community, like beyond that, yes, like if depending on the use case too, right? So if it needs to be fine-tuned, and since it is a smaller model, it does not take a lot of resources to fine-tune either. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks.
Mhm. And out of all that, like this is what people here at IBM call it Shovit's baby, uh, because uh, I was an instrumental part in this one. So after Maui fire, I was I live in California. Like here, I see like if something like this happens, we are they're evacuating inland, right? There are many places to go, but Hawaii is different. Like it's an island, right? Like uh, there are no places to go. Like if there's like big fires, like this idea popped to in my head after Lahaina fire. After that, I started like talking to some of the government people here in Hawaii. How do people get information about emergency response, right? How do they prepare, right? How do they manage their resources, right? And how now, if I need to find anything related to my building safety and all that, there are so many different resources. I have to go many web pages that I have to go find those answers. How can we bring all that in one place, right? So this helped us. We pitched this idea to the government, and then we ran a pilot. And what we built an application, an assistant, right? Like as I mentioned earlier, a chatbot where citizens can go ask a question, right? So now you simply by starting with your parcel ID or street ID, or ladder, like it looks through the goes through the geospatial data and helps you answer information about your building, right? Are there any permits that was recently issued to your building for any kind of retrofitting, right? And it gives you information about your building, and also what can be done to improve the building. Like let's say, for example, does the roof needs to be replaced uh, for fire purpose, right? And it would give you uh, some kind of analytics on damage analysis based on like high wind, flood, and fire. And now, once you do that, you can create a report for that building. And as a pilot, we supported that in Japanese as well, considering like different languages in Hawaii. So not just that, like helps you answer questions related to flood, fire, and hurricane, how to prepare for safety and all those things, right? And uh, provide you information about preparation, retrofitting, and all different hazards. What we want to see in future is uh, improve this permitting process. Like, let's see if we can take this permitting process. Like, if there's any permit in place, how can we expedite that process? If there are any vendors that needs, like, let's say you need to retrofit your building, like, will it would suggest you the vendors and contractors. Like if there's any government plans that helps you match any of those prices, or are there any fundings that's provided by the government that should be available in one portal, right? So that's what we envision. Let's see if we get funding at that. We are awaiting of funding, right? Like it was supposed to happen like in September, by September, but I know there has been so many delays. But like if that happens, hopefully within by the end of year 2026, you will see this at like our your Hawaii government's portal at some point. All right, so that was one of the project that I was working on in Hawaii as a pilot, which was tested like for like 16 different buildings. Now, uh, uh, let's see where it lands based on it. It's all contingent upon the approval for the government Hawaii.
Uh, we have a question, Shovit.
Yeah.
Who's who's responsible for the answers that are provided by the chatbot? So, for example, you take this assistant. Is it the citizen who's supposed to double check the answers, or is it the government agency developing, deploying the chatbot, or is it IBM's responsibility?
For the model part, right? Let's say, for example, you used IBM models, right? IBM is responsible. We indemnify our models, right? We stand by our models. So if there is a lawsuit that happened because of our IBM's Granite's response, then IBM is liable for that one. We stand by our models. However, if the models are fine-tuned, then whoever fine-tuned it is responsible for the responses, right? Now, coming to this virtual assistant that we built for Hawaii, this knowledge was like we used the data that was provided by City and County of Honolulu as well as uh, HIMA and FEMA, right? So like anything that we augment the knowledge, uh, I know it happens in every chat, but we provide where we got retrieve that answers from. So the sources are provided where the responses were generated from.
So it is up to the citizen to click the cited references and go through to the pages to make sure that everything
Exactly.
matches.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
Fantastic.
if it was a free, let's say it was no like there was no augmentation of knowledge, right? Like no extra knowledge was supplied, and then if it was just IBM Granite model, then IBM is responsible for it.
Fantastic. Do you by any chance know if any of the languages supported by IBM Granite is Hawaiian? Does it support Hawaiian?
That that was a great question because last year we went to because of this one we went back to our product team and to include Hawaiian, but I can definitely check on that, like if they have included that or not.
I know that there are a lot of government agencies in Hawaii who are interested in supporting Hawaiian as well, and we
Yeah,
can
exactly.
provide
So
any.
I
Yeah,
can I know we made a request to the product team to support Hawaiian and that one. Let's see where that stands for today. I can definitely check that for you.
fantastic.
And it was it came up during one of the conversations in Hawaii, right? So we went back and
Yeah,
said like, hey, we need Hawaiian because uh, this is instrumental for government agencies in Hawaii.
fantastic. Any other questions from the audience? Okay. Okay. Well, oh, we see one questions. So here's a question. How does IBM What's Next AI can help businesses improve their customer service metrics like issue resolution rates and NPS?
Uh, This is where we sign the best because we have been in this business for a while now. Like as you saw in some of the slides, there was a product called Watson Assistant. It was all rule-based customer service, right? So it was mainly used for customer service. Uh, like now, it can be embedded into your web page, your cell phones, right? And then Facebook, Slack, anywhere, right? Like it can be embedded into any of those portals. And not just that, like it can connect to your current like contact center agents. So you are routing your customer service, like the phone calls you make to this virtual assistant so that only like if the age assistant cannot solve the problem, then you're routing this to the humans. So what happens is this call center that gets a lot of phone calls, the high volume of phone calls does not have to deal with like simple questions, like answering simple questions. They're only engaged when assistant cannot answer the questions or it has to be escalated. Some of those cases have to be escalated or it needs uh, humans in the loop. In those cases it would be routed so that like you save all that time. So this has been our this has been the place where IBM has helped industries improve their customer service. Like for example, like during pandemic, CVS. Like we're not even talking right when the generative AI, it's pre-generative AI era, right? Where we helped like streamline the call center because call centers were exhausted, overwhelmed with our vaccination uh, queries, right? So we helped CVS improve that so that they were this call center agents were just taking the important calls, like the rest of them were answered by the assistant. That's
That
one of
makes sense.
the, and then this has happened to, we did the same thing for Pfizer and many other industries and banking system. If you go to banks, a lot of the banks, since uh, banking is a highly regulated field, like all the transactions run through our IBM mainframe. So this makes a seamless process to use our like assistants and agents to streamline the call centers.
That makes sense. Yeah, well, thank you very much for your time, Shovit, and thank you for all the continued support. And yeah, we appreciate you sharing your experience and some very interesting use cases with us today.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
thank you.
Mahalo. Bye.